You've probably seen Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi step onto a pitch in boots that look like their own personal billboard. Gold plating, custom colorways, their name or their kids' names stitched straight into the leather. Boots like that exist to be seen. But standing on the same pitch every single match is another pair of boots built to do the exact opposite job. Plain. Black. No name. No color. Nothing to look at, on purpose. They belong to the referee, and they have looked almost exactly the same for well over a century. To understand why, you have to go back to a time before football even had referees. In the earliest days of organized football, team captains settled disputes between themselves. As the game professionalized through the late 1800s, that stopped working, and clubs began appointing a neutral third party to make the calls. The role even got its name from the job itself. When the two sides couldn't agree, the decision was referred to someone standing outside the argument. That's where the word referee comes from. Once the role existed, it needed a look, and almost universally, early officials reached for the same color: black. One theory traces it straight back to the courtroom. Judges had worn dark robes for centuries as a visual signal of impartiality, and the first football officials borrowed that same logic, dressing like the one person on the field who wasn't representing either side. But there was a simpler reason sitting right alongside the symbolism. In the sport's early professional decades, clubs almost never played in black kits themselves. That made black the easiest color for an official to wear, without ever risking a clash with either team. No committee had to rule on it. It was simply the one color nobody else on the pitch was using. By March 1893, the rule was formal enough that referees in London held a meeting at Anderton's Hotel and founded the first Referees' Society, built to examine and certify officials before they were trusted with a match. Within 6 years, that had grown to 27 separate societies with 773 members. The Referees Union followed in 1908. And through all of that formalizing, one detail never got a debate. The uniform was black. Shirt, shorts, socks, boots, no alternate colors, no discussion. For decades, the man in black wasn't a nickname sports writers invented for flavor. It was a literal, complete description of what a referee wore every single match. The FIFA World Cup itself ran for over 60 years without a single referee stepping onto the pitch in anything else. You'd assume that once football modernized into the made-for-television, sponsorship-driven spectacle it is now, a rule that old would have quietly faded. It didn't. Instead, part of it got written directly into the rulebook. Official guidance from soccer's governing bodies states plainly that a referee's footwear must be almost entirely black, kept clean and polished, with essentially no ornamentation allowed. It isn't framed anywhere as a style preference. It's written as a requirement, the same way offside or a throw-in is a requirement. And there's a very specific, physical reason the boots matter more than any other piece of the kit. Picture a player sprinting at full speed with the ball, head down, eyes locked on the turf just ahead of their own feet. In that half-second, they're not scanning faces. They're reading boots and socks to know instantly who's a teammate, who's an opponent, and who isn't playing at all. A referee's black boots answer that question before the player even has to think about it. Now picture that same referee in a pair of boots like Ronaldo's, gold-plated, personalized, built to catch the light. That instant recognition disappears. So does the unspoken signal that the person wearing them has no stake in who wins. Here's the part that makes this feel less like an old habit and more like a hardwired rule of officiating itself. An ocean away, in a completely different sport, in a completely different decade, officials ran into the exact same problem and landed on the exact same instinct. In 1920, an American football referee named Lloyd Olds took the field in the era's standard officiating outfit, a formal white dress shirt, and was mistaken for a player in the middle of a play. A friend designed him a black and white striped shirt to fix the confusion for good. The look spread through college football, and the NFL formally adopted striped officiating uniforms in 1941, standardizing them to black and white only by 1947. Nobody in American football was borrowing from soccer's rulebook. Two completely separate sports, arguing about a completely different color scheme, arrived at the same underlying answer. An official's clothing exists to make them instantly, unmistakably not a player. Football's own uniform did eventually change, just never at the boots. At the 1994 World Cup in the United States, referees broke from all black for the first time on TV.